The global regulatory landscape for digital platforms is rapidly evolving, presenting unique challenges and opportunities. At the forefront of this intricate environment stands TikTok, a platform facing divergent pressures across major geopolitical blocs. Understanding these differing approaches is crucial for comprehending TikTok's strategic imperatives. In the United States, TikTok faces an existential threat. Federal law mandates that ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, must divest its US operations. This requirement is set to take effect by August 26, 2025. The constitutionality of this law has been upheld, including by the Supreme Court. Despite the clear legal framework, enforcement has seen delays. The previous Trump administration, for instance, postponed action multiple times. Curiously, the current White House even maintains an official TikTok account, highlighting the complex political dynamics at play. The European Union, by contrast, has adopted a distinct regulatory philosophy. Its approach prioritizes compliance rather than forced divestiture. This strategy is exemplified by robust frameworks like the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, and the Digital Services Act, known as DSA. This regulatory stance has led to significant fines and mandates for corrective actions against TikTok. However, it has not resulted in an outright ban or a forced sale of the platform. In response, TikTok has made substantial investments in compliance measures to address these concerns, allowing it to continue operations without being compelled to sell. This analysis aims to elaborate on potential methods for TikTok to avoid a forced sale in the US. It will explore strategies that align with European specifications, such as GDPR-compliant data handling, localization, and independent oversight. These approaches are based on TikTok's ongoing initiatives, established regulatory precedents, and potential workarounds. The core principle is to prioritize data security and localization as alternatives to ownership changes. Data localization involves storing user data within its region of origin. For example, European user data is kept on EU-based servers. This practice is designed to prevent unauthorized access, particularly from entities in China. The GDPR specifically requires high levels of protection for the personal data of EU residents. Applying this strategy could mitigate national security risks without necessitating a platform sale. TikTok's Project Clover in the EU exemplifies this approach. This initiative represents a €12 billion investment in data centers across Europe. It ensures that EU user data is stored locally and remains inaccessible from China. Furthermore, third-party security firms, such as NCC Group, provide independent oversight for Project Clover. This robust framework allowed TikTok to continue operating in the EU, even after facing a €530 million fine for prior GDPR violations. The EU model demonstrates that stringent data protection can be achieved without ownership changes. In the US context, TikTok has implemented Project Texas. This initiative stores American user data on Oracle servers, also with independent oversight. Adopting stricter EU-style specifications for Project Texas could significantly strengthen TikTok's legal arguments against a forced sale. This would demonstrate a commitment to data security equivalent to that demanded by European regulators. Engaging neutral external entities to audit data practices is crucial for transparency and compliance. This aligns directly with the GDPR's principle of accountability. Such independent verification builds trust with regulators, thereby reducing the perceived need for divestiture. Under Project Clover, the NCC Group actively verifies that no EU data flows to unauthorized parties. This independent oversight has been instrumental in helping TikTok respond to EU investigations. It allowed the company to address concerns, such as those from the Irish Data Protection Commission, without any changes in ownership. For the US context, TikTok could significantly expand its existing US audits to mirror the rigor seen in the EU. Implementing more comprehensive and independently verified auditing processes would bolster its legal challenges against forced divestiture. This would provide concrete evidence of data security and integrity. Relocating technical back-end services, including hosting and content delivery networks, to compliant non-US jurisdictions is another strategic option. This approach leverages the EU's emphasis on secure, localized infrastructure. If a US ban were to take effect, services could potentially be routed through European infrastructure. This could maintain functionality for existing US app installations without requiring divestiture. Such a setup would adhere to GDPR-like protections for cross-border data transfers. This strategy operates within the scope of the current US law, as the ban primarily targets US entities and app stores. While users might need virtual private networks for optimal access, this approach preserves the app's core ecosystem. It offers a pathway for TikTok to continue serving its US user base, even in the event of a full ban on new downloads or updates from US app stores. This would be a significant workaround to maintain presence. Proactively addressing regulatory concerns through fines, corrective action plans, and advocacy is a key strategy. The EU model, particularly through tools like the Digital Services Act, focuses on enforcing platform accountability. Crucially, it achieves this without resorting to forced sales. In Europe, TikTok has consistently paid fines and implemented required changes. This proactive compliance has allowed the platform to continue its operations. This stands in stark contrast to the US approach, which has primarily focused on a forced sale or an outright ban. In the US context, TikTok could intensify its lobbying efforts for the adoption of EU-style regulations. The company could argue that its global GDPR compliance already mitigates many of the perceived national security threats. This would shift the debate from ownership to robust data governance. The European Union's regulatory framework offers a compelling alternative to the US divestiture mandate. European specifications prioritize data protection and accountability, demonstrating that robust oversight can be achieved without ownership changes. This model provides a potential blueprint for TikTok to navigate the intense pressures it faces in the United States. However, success in the US remains uncertain due to the explicit and legally upheld divestiture requirement. The US law is fundamentally different from the EU's compliance-focused approach. If enforcement proceeds as planned, workarounds such as infrastructure shifts and enhanced third-party oversight may become critical. These strategies could offer TikTok a path to maintain its presence, even if it means operating under significantly altered conditions.